The next track on the album is Anyway. And Anyway was one of the first tracks that I actually performed. I had a buddy of mine, Reagan, and I, who went out and we performed at open mic nights, and it was a lot of fun. And it's a 2-guitar acoustic guitar song, and I ended up writing a bass line for it that is just kind of a complementary bass line. It's actually programmed bass. Most of the bass lines on the album I actually play. This is one where I just programmed it because it was actually at that time when I didn't have a good microphone or a good way to record bass. I was really unsatisfied with the bass recordings I was getting, and so I said, well, hey, my keyboard sounds really good, why don't I just program the bass? And so I actually use I think the patch that I use is like a jazz bass, and it's supposed to be basically like mimicking my actual bass is on the keyboard, and it does a pretty good job of it. So I ended up keeping it, and it sounds pretty good. The one part that's definitely not done with this new part is the drums. I don't know how to drum this stuff. This is like one of the hardest songs for me from a drumming perspective because it's like a softer acoustic piece, and I just don't really know what to do. I mean, I gotta have something, so I will have something, but it's like TBD, and it's gonna be probably the hardest thing because I've done the drums and pretty much everything else is the last thing. So probably end up doing it by hand and just making it sound kind of the way I want, but it might end up taking a long time. The other part that I want to add is a little bit more keyboard lushness, if you will, to it, where I want to kind of fill it out with a little bit more, maybe some strings, some synths, something to just kind of reinforce the melody, because the vocals are a little jarring right now, and I'm going to re-record the vocals, but overall this is a nice track. It started out with just me playing the guitar, and it was a piece that was it's pretty simple. Kind of just does that for the verse. Then you get to your chorus. Which is like the most widely used chord structure in all of music. But I like it. It sounds okay. This is a good chorus. And then I do some interesting changes, I guess, a little bit for the second verse. So I kind of give it a little bit of a different feel for the second verse, and then I go back to the chorus. And then I realized, in doing, in playing with another person, that I would have to come up with, I could effectively, I wanted to have 2 guitar parts, I knew that, because that was not enough for me to just play like some pseudo power chords, basically, on an acoustic guitar. So I wanted to have a little bit more. So I ended up writing this part that was just, and that actually, it ends up complementing the other part pretty well. So I ended up writing that to kind of like go with the chorus a little bit, and then it gave me a really cool, because I was kind of up here anyways, it gave me a really cool like solo part that I ended up doing where I go. If I can play it, but you get the picture. It comes up. It's just a nice little solo there that I actually haven't played in a while, but that kind of complements the bridge, which I never really had anything with, but I knew I wanted to do something. So that pretty much fills out the whole song. There's kind of like some cool little rhythm start-stops where I go. And I complemented that with a little. Just kind of like rising notes. And that's kind of the whole song. So here's the that's the breakdown of it. Here's the original recording. This is from 9/4/2005.
My message in the truth. Don't have a meaning, but you still understand any way that you can
This is good. It's still slow. It's still kind of. I haven't added that second guitar part yet. I haven't added any bass yet. I haven't added, well, or at least attempted to try any drums yet. This next one I'm going to play is from 3/5/2006, and it is after I've now had my music equipment for a while and. Well, for a few months, and I've kind of been able to refine this and add the other parts that I want. So the one thing I did that I really do like in this is that I did make the vocals finally like more presentable, I guess, if you will. But I also didn't like it because I made it so that the vocals were not, they sound a little too much like. They didn't have the sound that I want, essentially. I wanted to have this kind of like singer-songwritery, reverbery, sound, and these vocals end up sounding real chorusy and trebly and like punk rocky, and that's not really what I'm going for on this particular song. So, kind of gives you an example where I heard something and I knew that the vocals were definitely moving in the right direction. Doing two. One of the things I started immediately doing is like layering my vocals, like doing two vocals at the same time. I try to avoid it if I can. It's just really hard for me to get a strong take, and it's really hard for me to get it to sound full. So you end up having to do kind of play two of the same vocal tracks at the same time. You don't want it to sound too chorusy, like I said. So there's kind of a delicate balance. But this first take didn't do a great job of finding that balance. It sounds very chorusy. But the other part of the instrumentation is really good, and I do enjoy it, so I'll play it. And I think at this point I do have the solo as well, so I'll play all the way through that. That was the first time I incorporated the second guitar, some type of bass, even though it wasn't how I ended up. The bass wasn't how I ended up doing it, but it was. I actually did end up taking part of that bass line that I played and programming it in, and then I also added in the solo as well. It was this kind of like repeating delay component to it that with the acoustic guitar sounds really cool on the solo. So I was able to get that out of that, and that was really good. And then what I'll now play for you is kind of where we're at right now with Anyway, current version of it. My notes are, again, drums to be done, vocals need to be cleaned up, and then I want to add something to fill out and reinforce the melody so that it's not as. There's some parts to this that just feel like are difficult to listen to, and I want to make it more pleasant for people to listen to it. I think I can do that with a little bit more instrumentation. So without further ado, here is Anyway. And that is the end of this video track review session. In the next session, we'll be doing Pick Me Up, track 5.